Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes,
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture.
Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZED Games AU.
Hello. This is Zed Games and my name is Zahra. With me in the studio tonight is...
Elliott.
And...
Paul, not in the studio.
Not in the studio. Your disembodied voice is being projected into the studio because that is how powerful you are.
Yes, it's true. I'm looking after family and I currently have a dog in my arms. So stop him eating the toddler's food.
Oh, isn't fatherhood amazing?
It's great. It's great.
So,
something like that.
Yeah. Now, we don't only talk about video games and gaming reviews and gaming news. We also talk about game movies. I tried to make that rhyme. That didn't work out. But that's all right.
I think I missed the attempt to make it rhyme.
Well...
Oh, there. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. We're on board now.
Yeah, you sense you're getting it. You're getting it.
Yeah.
And look, I feel like we've got a really coherent group here to talk about the world of video games and film. For starters, we have Paul, who actually has a background in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, my actual training's in film. I've worked in film. I've shot feature films. I have had a film in Cannes, and I ran film clubs from the most highbrow to the lowest of lowbrow.
Of course.
Incredible.
And we have Elliott, who is an expert in video games. And then we have me, and I think...
You like Sonic.
That about sums it up. That really does sums it up. So I think we've got the whole range of film enjoyers for this night's topic, conversation, theme. Yes, there we go. Found...
You got the word.
Ideology.
Yeah.
Discourse. Tonight's discourse.
But before all that, it is time to listen to some news. So let's just hop right into it.
This week in gaming news. Embracer Group-owned THQ Nordic held a showcase last week to show off their upcoming lineup. Included were some new IPs and the return of some old favourites. A new reboot of the grandfather of survival horror, 1992's Alone in the Dark, was shown off, being written by Mikkel Hedberg, who is best known for his work on frictional games Amnesia: Dark Descent and Soma. A sequel to Outcast, subtitled A New Beginning, was revealed after the original sequel was shelved 21 years ago. The new single-player third-person action-adventure game offers a lush, colourful alien world explored by the now jetpack sporting hero, Gutter Slade. The remake of the classic third-person RPG Gothic showed off its updated look, and we were given another look at the upcoming tactical mercenary game, Jagged Alliance 3. A crowd favourite was SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, a successor to the PS2-era cult classic SpongeBob SquarePants: Battle for Bikini Bottom. Along with existing IPs, there was an announcement of new titles. Recreation is an open-world multiplayer racer and track-building game led by Burnout veterans, hoping to stick the landing somewhere between Burnout Paradise, Wreckfest, and Trackmania. Space for Sale is a cute sci-fi survival crafting and property management game where you build homes for aliens. The strategy genre was well represented also, with Tempest Rising, Knights of Honor 2, and The Valiant on display, and the show ended with a teaser of a new South Park game in development. And a note that THQ Nordic still has 25 unannounced games in development. The world's most prolific fighting game tournament, EVO, has wrapped up for another year, and with it came a slew of announcements. A number of Street Fighter VI details were revealed, including new fighters and commentators. A new Fatal Fury game was announced, a new Tekken was subtly teased, there was DLC for King of Fighters 15, Skullgirls Second Encore, and Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, among others, and Guilty Gear Strive added Bridget as a new fighter, and the series' first confirmed transgender character. Perhaps the biggest announcement for fighting games fans were a number of titles that were adding rollback netcode to their games, which makes online fighting games far more playable. The titles included Samurai Showdown, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and Dragon Ball FighterZ. Next year's event will be held in Tokyo. It's been 8 years since the release and subsequent deletion of PT, Hideo Kojima's experimental horror teaser for the never-completed Silent Hills. Kojima posted about the anniversary on Twitter, to which a former Konami staffer, identified as Pearl L, responded.
Fun fact, since I was the first-party lead at the time at Konami, I helped get this product set up on the storefronts, fake publisher and everything. And I was the one who had to call Sony and ask them to take it down and block re-downloads. That was a super fun conversation.
In the Zed Games release schedule, August 19 will bring RPG Time, The Legend of Right on Switch, Timeza and We Are OFK on PlayStation 5, Series X and S, Switch and PC, and Curse to Golf on all major platforms. August 23 will bring Midnight Fight Express on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC and Game Pass, and Saints Row on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC. That's all this week in gaming news.
Wow, thank you for that, Paul. That was a very informative week in gaming news.
You're welcome.
It's just like, look, you're just in everyone's ears today, it feels.
I can't help myself. And so and today there's been even more THQ Nordic and Embracer news. But I haven't even been able to absorb it yet. Basically Embracer just bought 8 to 12 more acquisitions, of which
Yeah.
And they got the rights to Lord of the Rings and I got to map it all out of my head. I really can't follow it yet. I mean, Embracer's massive.
Yeah,
They've got the most correct name in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just started taking in everything in a really big hug and they're like, we're embracing you. But you don't really get a choice. You're just getting embraced.
Exactly. It's one of those things, like, so many developers I know that people are like, oh, at least they're independent. I'm like, no, they're not. They're owned by Embracer, one of the biggest.
I think we need to reframe what independent actually means.
Oh yeah,
Because
well, it's not. Yeah,
it's not what it's not the same anymore.
No, but Embracer also just kind of doesn't put themselves like as forward.
Yeah.
Like they're not like Tencent putting their name everywhere.
Yeah, they're not as vocal.
Yeah, they're just sort of like happily eating everything, and they've got a big focus in Europe, which is probably reported on a little bit less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy our corporate overlords until it inevitably all goes bad, which it will.
Yeah. And we'll be there to report it.
Yeah. That's always my caveat on, the fabled Game Pass. It's like, great deal for now, and it will go evil. Do not get me wrong. It will go evil.
So watch out.
Yeah. No, just take bets on when. It's
We don't endorse gambling. Just
No. Just just bets. Use your soul, something like that.
Yeah.
Something non-monetary. Yeah, exactly. Get a good return on that.
I'd love to talk more about gambling away our souls, but I'd much rather talk about. I don't know. Do we want to start with video game movies that we actually enjoyed, or video game movies that we very much did not enjoy?
I mean, it's a hard line to put down here.
Yeah, because why do we enjoy it? Is it because it's good or bad?
Look, there's a lot of things that I know, for instance, do dislike, but there's things, because my expectations are very low and what I'm looking for in them go quite well. I'm just going to randomly bring up a film and can spark conversation. Monster Hunter, which you saw last year, and I knew you despised it.
I didn't like the spiders.
You were a bit turned off by the horror aspect.
Yeah,
but
I didn't care. Like, there were parts of it that I genuinely enjoyed, because there was the parts of it that really reminded me of the Monster Hunter experience, starting with just bone armor that you've scavenged. And
yes, that was all the stuff.
Yeah.
Actually taking the bits, building armory, but when she's like training with the weapons, it's like, oh yeah, if you move it like this, it goes on fire.
Yeah. That part was like, okay, yeah, there we go.
And that's not a good movie, but it is fun. It doesn't really make any particular sense other than the fact we know the video games and it's a fun reference.
Yeah.
So it's like they are knowingly making a joke. So it's hard to categorize. Like, we're not at fine art, we're at fun, and what's fun and what's not there. So that movie falls under my fine category. Like, it's fine. I don't really think about it, but I wasn't upset by it.
Like, I didn't enjoy it because, well, mostly because of the spiders, but there are also parts of it that was like, this seems like a whole lot of unnecessary trying to establish why these characters are in this world.
Oh, yeah.
Why not just jump into the characters in this world?
Yeah.
Because they didn't even write any characters. It was just a costume.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Wonder if that has anything else to do with why didn't... Okay. The monsters were cool.
How about we go with something that we're at least a little bit passionate about as a good movie? Is that a good point to start?
Oh.
I
mean, I got one that I think is a good movie.
Lara Croft.
Yeah, I like Lara Croft.
Yeah.
It was actually my first introduction into Lara Croft as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I never knew about it beforehand.
Oh, because like it was the other way around. Like I played the first Lara Croft game. I was so confused. I was actually terrified because there was this like cave where a tiger hopped out, and I got too scared to play any further.
You didn't even get to the T-Rex.
No, there's a T-Rex.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up again then. I wonder if I still have it somewhere. But like, I actually really enjoyed the movies as well. Like, Angelina Jolie was like, I felt like she was really...
I feel like she was really good casting.
Yeah, like, she was cool. She was, she's attractive. She's... I felt like she was a pretty convincing Lara Croft, you know?
Yeah.
Look,
I mean, it's no Angelina Jolie in Hackers.
Well,
but,
true.
I
when is it ever?
I kind of agree with the Rotten Tomato score that does put it out of 1 out of 5 stars.
Oh, no.
But I think famously Roger Ebert loved it.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't know why. I feel he's wrong on that one, but we can't all agree.
There was this one bit that really confused me when I first watched it, and that was the bit where she drinks that tea from the monk and her injury is magically healed, which like...
It's video game logic.
I know it's video game logic, but like to very young me, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's just tea.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it was really video game logic, she should have been hoarding all of those until far too late in the game, and
exactly.
She doesn't really need them anymore, and she's got too many Phoenix Downs by the end. Exactly.
But no, we just got some floating rocks in this Stromony. I can't remember what it was. It looked cool though.
As far as interesting films that like are pretty well made and still represent the game well and everything, probably my top one would be Takeshi Miike's Ace Attorney movie.
Oh,
I thought that was
like,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both pretty accurate. Like it's pretty much a retelling, but I mean, Takeshi is like, he's not an art director, but he does lots of weird stuff. He likes to experiment with forms and everything. So he just like has this cool like holographic courtroom battles at each other and everything as they're yelling objection and everything.
It's like...
it's campy in a very controlled, fun way.
Yeah. And that I think is the charm of Ace Attorney to begin with, is that it is...
of course.
It is kind of goofy. It is campy, but it's like in a way that's like calculated.
Yeah, it's like they have a real story there as well, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. And so, this plays as, a dramatic comedy with some sort of like weird sci-fi elements to it because it's like courtroom battles.
Yeah.
So that's like pretty well put together, that film. So if you're so inclined, that's one to look up.
All right, I have a suggestion to throw into the circle.
Uh-huh.
Pokemon. The
one with Ryan Reynolds?
No, I didn't even think of that. I forgot that actually.
Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. I forgot about Detective Pikachu.
Look, that's the only one I can talk about.
What was it
that's
called
fine.
again?
That's in my fine category.
Pokemon the movie.
Like the animated ones?
Yeah.
There
like
are so many Pokemon movies.
Oh, dude, there's so many.
And do you know how many I've seen?
None.
It's correct, so I can't partake in this.
Get out of this conversation, Paul.
Pokemon 2000, honestly,
so good.
Such a vibe.
So good. And like, God, I can't keep track of which movie is which, but like the one with Mewtwo, right?
Yeah, Mew vs. Mewtwo.
Yeah. When he's like the scene
Spoiler
when
alert.
Ash. Yeah, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the movie in the 22 years, you might want to tune out now.
Okay, I'm turning off.
Where Ash gets turned to stone.
Oh
and
my God.
all the Pokemon just stop their fighting, and Pikachu is like trying to wake up Ash. Absolutely devastating. I was crying.
Yeah.
And
dude.
then for that scene to resolve with Mewtwo going on with his speech about like how it's not the circumstances of one's birth that defines you, it's what you sort of do with that life. Mind blowing.
That entire scene, like even before Ash gets like stoned.
Yeah.
Like
Now
they're
I'm
all
interested.
fighting and Pikachu's crying
Yeah,
while
like,
smacking
like
the
they're
other
all
Pikachu. Like
Absolutely, it was like all the build up and everything was just, I don't know, it was just
peak
really
film.
Yeah, all right. I think that's
it.
the end.
Done.
All right, everybody.
Show's over.
That's it for Zed Games for tonight. It was really nice chatting with you, Elliott and Paul.
Oh, you said peak film. I thought you said pink film, which goes a very different way in my head.
Oh no.
I was like, a Pokemon pink film. I'm sure they exist, but
Well, there was Slowbro in which one with Articuno, Zapdos, and
Oh yeah, that's Pokemon 2000 with Lugia.
yeah, that's right.
Honestly, that movie is what made Lugia my favorite Pokemon.
Anytime I meet someone whose name is Ash, I always think of that line in the prophecy is like, and the world shall turn to ash.
And then
I'm
everyone
like,
just turns to him.
it's like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
If I got like, at that age, if I got pulled up in front of class to answer a question, that's it.
Tears.
Tears immediately. I don't know how he kept I mean, to be fair, he's kind of been through a lot.
Yeah.
It's probably desensitized to all that stuff that's going on.
you were very invested in this character.
Well, see, Paul, you wouldn't understand because
I know because I've got a heart of stone.
Yeah, exactly. And you know
Just
what?
like Ash.
We need to make sure that all the Pokemon gather in a circle around you and start crying,
Oh,
and that will melt.
That would be
That will
nice.
that'll break your heart, just like it did 22 years ago.
Ah.
Yeah.
I mean, a sad Diglett would make me sad.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What else? I mean, obviously there's Detective Pikachu, and I think we've already talked about Detective Pikachu in a past episode.
It's solid. It's fine. You know, I put it
Yeah.
there with you, like your modern and sorry for a throwaway here. You can easily pick it up again here, Zahra. But you know, like the Sonic the Hedgehog modern movies.
Yeah.
Like they're well put together. They're fine entertainment.
They're like fun for the fans.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
family good. Like I assume eventually my son is going to make me watch it 100 times, and I
Yeah.
will learn to despise it. But for
Look,
now,
if you
it's
need
fine.
a babysitter, just let me know. I'll be happy to watch it 100
Do
times.
you want to come around and watch Sonic the Hedgehog 300 times in a row?
Oh boy, would I ever!
Yeah, just the bit where I don't know.
Yeah, I'll
is
just
the bit where he
pause
stares in poo or
every
something?
5
That sounds
minutes to
great.
explain why this particular scene is so important to the Sonic the Hedgehog canon.
It really goes in there. Yeah, well, I mean, okay, if we're good things in sort of like so bad they're good, they're sort of the holy trinity from my youth, but they
Yeah.
sort of have continued. We've got our Paul Anderson's Mortal Kombat, not the new
yeah.
one, the old one with the good animatronic Goro that gets kicked in the nuts. I'm punching the nuts, actually, sorry. How wonderful. Street Fighter, which is almost unwatchable, except Raul Julia gives one of the most entertaining performances as M. Bison in history.
Yeah.
With his whole speech about like today, that day was the worst day of your life, and for me it was just. Is it a Wednesday or a Tuesday?
I think it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. But then the big one, Super Mario Brothers. Bob Hoskins
Ooh.
and what's Luigi's name? You know, clown from Spawn and everything. I feel I should know this. But like that movie is just insane.
Yeah.
It shares almost nothing to do with Mario.
No,
except character
just
names.
the names.
It's some some grungy 90s adventure where there's like Yoshi is a little T-Rex, Goombas are weird giant guys with tiny heads. There is I think it was last year, fans had got together all this source material that was cut from the movie and made a new edit that edits it back in. And I think you could get that off archive.org, and it has like a rap and all this extra material in
Paul, I think we're
It's,
going to just need to pause for a moment.
So you're listening to Zed Games, is that it?
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Hello, you're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games. You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Perfect. Thank you. This is Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio tonight is Elliott and Paul. And speaking of Final Fantasy Advent Children,
It's a movie.
I feel like I need to set the stage.
Okay.
So I was a wee little tyke, just like believing everything I saw on screen. And at the time, I wasn't particularly good at English, so I couldn't really understand most of what was being said on screen. And also because I was so young, I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy at this point. Because I was so young and the animation was like pretty dang good, I was really scared because I thought that they were like actual actors. And I thought that there were real life people out in the world who looked like them. And it was just a bit with that kind of like frame, like that perspective in mind, very uncanny valley. I had nightmares, basically, and I desperately wanted my mom to like sort of reassure me that these people weren't real. And she was like, that's not real. It's a movie. And I'm like, but my mom, those are people, actors. Like, can you not see it? And she's like, they're not real people. I was like, what do you mean they're not real people? Very confusing and therefore very frightening. Yeah.
And then you saw the Dark Crystal, and that really freaked you out.
Oh.
I mean, that movie freaks you out anyway.
Yeah.
Just its nature.
I mean, it's, it is what it is.
You being younger than I again, this often comes out me being elderly. Our first big Final Fantasy was Spirits Within, which was really weird because it wasn't, we kind of wanted our fantasy Final Fantasy, and there was this weird, mostly dramatic sci-fi thing. We were like, hey, but where's my big swords? Where's my thing? Why are they just driving around in a truck? And, yeah, that was a weird moment. I mean, for the time, extremely technically ambitious, though.
Yeah. We were having a little chat about sort of games that left more of a negative impression on us. And before we talk about those, I am so glad that I remember this. It's technically not a video game movie. It's a board game movie. And yeah, I want to talk about Battleship for a moment. Just the awful movie.
Incredible movie.
Absolutely life-changing. Just like, kind of like Battleship. Okay, yeah, I guess they're on a battleship, but it's not very... How are they going to put the battleship into Battleship? Why are there aliens? I don't know. And then that scene where they like set up the radar grid system and like it starts falling into place and Rihanna's there and she's like got a sailor hat and you're like, whoa, they really put the battleship in Battleship. And it was very tense.
It was very intense. I had no clue that it was based on Battleship until I was like halfway through the movie and I was like, wait a minute. Really? Like they made a movie based on Battleship.
They must say you sung my Battleship, right?
Yeah, I think that...
Like, that's the only reason you'd make the entire movie.
Honestly, I don't think they did.
I feel
what's the
like...
point?
No, I feel like there was a bit where the
furious.
alien did take out one of the sensors, which sort of led to a bit of a minesweeper situation. It's been a very long time since I watched this movie, because I didn't want to watch it again. But, like, I think there was a bit where, like, one of the radars got taken out, and they're like, oh no, he sunk our radar. I think... Maybe.
Oh, that would just be teasing.
Maybe. Like, I might be just inventing a memory that doesn't exist because I want it to exist. But how many people have actually watched Battleship?
Look, I've watched a lot of terrible movies and that didn't make my radar for... Neither terrible enough or actually do good. But maybe, if I was still in my 20s watching literally 10 to 20 films a week, yeah, it definitely would have been in my radar.
Look, if you ever run out of films to watch, which I'm sure is probably not an issue for you, but just in case, there you go. Battleship.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list.
The bottom of the list,
Okay.
but it'll be there.
Yeah.
So,
on the list.
General bottom of the list is the entire Uwe of Uwe Boll, the notorious German filmmaker who takes people's beloved properties and makes terrible, terrible movies with them. House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark. I don't know if I linked it in our show discussions, but there's a famous scene in House of the Dead, which was his first licensed film, where all the characters run into this field and shoot all the zombies. As they're shooting, it randomly just splites in shots of the game. No context, just like nothing.
That's fun.
It will as it shows a character doing something, it will then do like a Matrix 360 spin around them, shooting the gun. Not cut to look like they were doing anything they were just doing. Also, sometimes holding an entirely different gun or in different costume.
Oh, okay.
That is incredible.
Wow.
And the scene goes so long, they have to play the song twice.
What? Was it like a good loop, or did they just let the song fade out once
Just
and
like,
all right,
it's
play
gone,
that
let's
again?
go again.
Right.
Amazing. So it used to be like a big fan theory that basically it was German tax loopholes and he would make money from making bad movies, basically, that no one wanted to see. I have actually had a very long chat with Uwe, who surprisingly, for being an extremely non-PC person, when we played the interview, we had to put a good language warning at the front because he doesn't mind what he's saying. He actually was really, really nice. And he makes all his money. He just sells... He gets a license because he can make money off it. He just sells it to like airlines and cable networks. They all make money. If he doesn't have a license, no one buys it. So, because he doesn't even care what the movie's like. He just likes making movies. It's like, what a weird thing. It's like, I don't care what the movie is or how it turns out. I just want to be on set. So he did 3 Dungeon Siege movies, and the first one stars Jason Statham, and his character is literally called Farmer.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
It's great. And the one that I've been bringing up as a fact, so he made 3 Blood Rain movies. The third one, Blood Rain, the Third Reich. And sort of simultaneously, sort of just afterwards, he made another film called Blubberella. And that film is the exact same cast and script as The Blood Rain, the Third Reich, except instead of a sexy vampire, he casts an obese woman. And he just makes the same film again.
Well...
Now, I'm not recommending either of them, but what a weird man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning a lot about this guy, and I'm getting a sort of like a higgledy-piggledy kind of picture.
Look, he's very toxic. There was lots of like people like wanting to like set up boxing matches to beat him up and everything because he's such a divisive character and everything. I would work for him, but I don't think I'd defend him as a good person. He's good to make movies with, I think.
Speaking of divisive movies, probably not that divisive. I think a lot of people were quite of one mind. Assassin's Creed.
Boy.
This isn't divisive.
Oh no, it's not divisive.
No,
okay,
everyone thinks it's trash.
Let's go the Rotten Tomatoes score. What do we reckon that is?
4.
I'm
As in
gonna
4%.
go.
Yeah.
Is it actually 4%?
I have no idea.
I don't think you'll be far off. I reckon it'll be 10 or under.
Let me have a quick Google.
Because it's like, what was the actor's name?
Higher than it's Fassbender.
It's Fassbender. I was expecting because he's a
fabulous
decent actor, right?
Yeah,
it actually has 18%.
18%.
I feel is being extremely generous.
Shows you, Elliott.
Oh wow.
You don't know what a movie is.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
No, because I remember watching the trailer and like I knew that I wasn't going to watch it seriously, but I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I don't know, but you know, he's a good actor. He's a good actor.
Maybe he can do something with it.
Maybe he can save it. Like, and I was like, well, maybe the what is the machine called again?
The Animus.
Like, it's kind of weird that it's like the freaking arm.
It was a weird arm claw thing, like the Matrix, and like
that I didn't mind that change because that was making it more like so you could have some movement, some action. Yeah, like,
in a way?
Like hey, it's like their VR system. You can move around a little bit and it can shuff you a bit.
Yeah.
But,
I got it because it also explained how somebody can gain those abilities in real life after doing it. Like I get that.
Yeah.
But also, it was just a time. Like the whole movie was just a time.
It's like it's all underexposed. It looks hideous. It's just like nothing. But I had in my head like I'm sure it was directed by someone. So it was directed by Justin Kurzel, who do you know what else he's done? He's Aussie. Well, he's Aussie. I'm pretty sure he's Aussie. He's at least made a lot of Aussie films. Yeah, he did Bloody Snowtown, History of Kellingham, and recently Nittrim. Like he's a serious art house director. And they got him to make that. So I don't know how much of his...
Why?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to picture like the people going to go, okay, right, who do we want to direct this movie?
It's actually not that uncommon because you get like indie art house that have like cred around them and then you hire them. but they don't really have much power.
Yeah.
The studio tends to... It happens with Marvel films all the time. It's only been recently they've given them any leeway at all. You just pull them up, they do what they say, and it gives you a bit of cred, and they get a bit of exposure and some money. So I'm sure he enjoyed the money.
Well, at least somebody enjoyed some part of the Assassin's Creed film.
Look, it got a lot of people employed.
You know what? It was good for the economy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we can always
At the end of the day, bad movies, good for the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to make a lot of bad movies to make some good ones.
All right. It is coming up to the end of the night for us. Yes, that's it. We have talked about all we can about video game and just game movies. Yeah.
What a time it's been.
What a time. It's time for us to say goodnight, goodbye, and I love you.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify.
Or follow us on social media at Zed Games AU.
See you next time.